Well, hello and welcome to SoCal Prep Report. My name is Randy Rosenbluth, your host, along with Tarek of the Daily News. We're going to talk a little volleyball in the city section. Will Reinhart, our resident expert when we do matches, and we're going to do the championship match in the city section on Saturday when Chatsworth and Palisades play. Will be with us, and his Verdugo Hills team is in the D2 final at 12:15, 12:30, thereabouts, Saturday at Cal State Northridge. We'll get to Will in a moment. Tarek, you're back, and I don't recognize you. Who is this guy? What's that thing underneath your nose?
On. You know, I was shaving last night and talking to my buddy William Corcoran. This is an ode to my buddy Billy, a longtime LA County sheriff, man. He's a brave guy, and he always rocks the, kind of that cop mustache. And I thought, you know what, Bill? I want to be like you for a couple days. So that's why I got this.
Well, you got to be brave to look like that nowadays. All right, let's talk a little bit of baseball.
Sure.
You know, when we were on here last week, there was a great baseball game going on. It was still going on, and then it got suspended. It was Harvard-Westlake at Palos Verdes. They suspended to the next day, went 14 innings, and Harvard-Westlake finally beat the Sea Kings 1-0. But Harvard-Westlake struggles to score runs, and in their next game, they got shut out against Olu.
That's right. You're talking 14 played innings in the last 3 games for the Wolverines. Scored 1 run. So that's not going to get it done in the playoffs. As dominant as the pitching was, they didn't give up a lot of runs, but you got to score, and they obviously didn't, and their season is over.
Their season is over, but for Notre Dame and Sherman Oaks, the top-ranked team, they've won 2 playoff games in a row after they got by the Bearcats of Bonilla. Again, a tough game. They struggled against Hart, but got through that first game, and now the Knights win this one, but it's not easy for the top-ranked team.
They are going to go on the road to Corona High. And, man, that's where it could all end. This arguably could be their toughest matchup. And I'm talking about if they ended up even making it to the CIF final. This Corona team's really, really good. They're going to throw – Notre Dame's going to throw Justin Lee, UCLA pitcher. But something tells me this game on the road could be their toughest test.
Sierra Canyon, a great win for Tom Usborne's team, the former Chatsworth coach. They won over Cypress. And, again, this is a good win because Cypress is one of those teams that was – laying in the weeds, it could win it all.
This season for Sierra Canyon is actually really special, and that's a credit to Tom Usborne. Let me tell you something about Sierra Canyon baseball. It's their first year in the Mission League. They probably feel like this season is like 6 years long right now. Think about playing in the Mission League, which is so difficult, 3 games a week. You don't know what's up, what's down. Next thing you know, you're in the postseason, the Division I playoffs, and you're finding ways to grind out and win games. And here they are in the quarterfinals. A great season for Sierra Canyon. Maybe the road stops for Sierra Canyon. I think they're playing Jay Serra. Is that not the defending champions? It's
they
be a
are
tough
going to
game.
play Jay Serra. That's their next game. And we want to talk about Jay Serra because they have some nice wins. They knocked off Ukaipa. And Ukaipa is always very, very good, so that's a good win there. 7-0, then they won against Etowanda. So, again, this is a Jay Serra team that won the championship last year, and they're still around.
If I'm not mistaken, this will be Jay Serra's 3rd game this week, which is a little different because that first-round game got postponed due to weather and so on. They played Ukaipa on Monday.
They did.
So maybe that has an impact and kind of gives Sierra Canyon a little bit of an advantage. But at the same time, when you're feeling a rhythm in 1 week and you're playing good baseball, that works to your advantage. Who knows?
That's what I was thinking for Jay Serra. They got to feel like they're unbeatable right now.
Exactly.
They're on a roll. They hit 3 homers in their last game, so they're playing really, really well. All right, let's turn our attention to city volleyball. Chatsworth is the #1 seed in the open division in the LA City section, and they played a team from their own league, the West Valley, and clobbered them 3-0. Chatsworth, the dominant team out of the West Valley, #1 seeded, going to the final Saturday night.
Yeah, not exactly surprising. They've been dominating their league all year long, and that's really all you can say about them. I think they're destined to win the Open Division final, but obviously Palisades is in their way.
Well, Palisades beat University. Uni is a very good team, but Pali beat them 3 times this season. They're from the same Western League. I thought Uni would maybe give them a real battle in this, but for the most part, Palisades control the action.
Last week I called, I said, hey, I think Uni's going to win the game. They're going to shake things up. They're going to give it, then they're going to get to the final and test Chatsworth with Palisades. Tested and proved to be the more talented opponent, and they'll be on to the finals to play Chatsworth.
Well, Verdugo Hills is in the finals, like I said, in Division II. Will Reinhart is not only my analyst Saturday nights, he's going to have a busy day at Cal State Northridge because in the early afternoon, he's got to play Southgate in the championship match. Will, always a pleasure to see you. We're going to have some fun tonight, aren't we?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, Randy. I think it's going to be a great day on Saturday. A lot of championship volleyball going on. I'm excited to be a part of it this year, both as a player, as a coach and also as an analyst.
And maybe a player, too. Who knows? You might steal an extra year of eligibility. Now, I didn't know that you coached UCLA to their 20th national title. I can see it now in the background. You're the coach of the Bruins, too.
Hey, class of 92, baby. Got a rep for the Bruins. Go Westwood, Yeah, great job for Coach Spera and the Bruins. First title since 2006 for those guys. They're getting back into shape.
All right, before I talk to you about the Pally match against Chatsworth, 1-2, it's the same assignment as a year ago when Chatsworth was number 1, Pally was number 2, and Pally beat them in 4, and the Dolphins won their 17th city title. Let's talk about your team briefly. You're in the finals of D2. You're the number 1 seed. Southgate, your opponent, is the number 2 seed. You both won 5-set matches to get there in the semis. Who's the better team?
Well, that's what we're going to play on Saturday, right? I mean, I think the odds are in our favor. This will be our 5th section final in the last dozen years, and I think we're due. 5th time's the charm, right? We don't take the Rams lightly. They have athleticism, they have skill, and they've had to get through that same gauntlet that we did. So I think the team in red and black should come out ahead.
We'll talk about your team a little bit. We know Verdugo Hills. Give us some names. Who's on the outside pounding the ball? Who's setting up your offense, and maybe who's at the net blocking some kills?
Well, look, so we have a team that I think has tremendous balance, especially at the net. If we're looking at our go-to player, for us, it's going to be Ramon Rodriguez. He's our team captain. He's a setter in a 6-2 offense, so he hits on the right side as well. He's a 3-time all-section first-team selection, and he's the East Valley Player of the Year. 300 kills this year. He's got more than 300 assists. He leads the team in aces as well as second in digs. So he's really probably the single sort of beating heart, but the other organs are pretty vital as well. And we've got great pin hitters and an outstanding block.
All right, let's get to the big match that you and I are going to call Saturday at 6 o'clock. Your thoughts, Palisades against Chatsworth. They each have a great Blake, who will feature, I'm sure, on the pregame. Blake Pohavitz, the outstanding hitter for Chatsworth, and there's Blake Pexock, the great setter for Palisades. My question to you, would you rather start a team with a great setter like Pexock, or would you rather have the great hitter like Pohavitz? Which one's more valuable?
Wow. I have to say I would answer that in 2 ways. If in the abstract, I would say I would go for the setter. I'm a coach, and coaches love setters. They're the quarterbacks. They're the point guards. I would start with a great setter. Having said that, in this particular circumstance, wow, the middle hitter that we're talking about for Chatsworth, I think Cena would take Blake Pohavitz. He's a dominant force. He's a guy who really is just a game changer. So if I had to pick this season, I'd go with that middle blocker from Chatsworth. He's pretty special.
Well, when you have a player like Pohavitz, and we kind of talked a little bit before the show, and you can kind of just, even the opponent knows, even though they know it's coming, you just keep feeding it's like having a running back that just no one can stop. You just keep feeding them the ball. They know it's coming. They still can't stop it. How nice is that to have when you're a coach? And does it make it easier sometimes to pivot off that because maybe the other team's not expecting something else?
Absolutely. You've covered prep sports a lot of years, and you've seen that happen where there's a standout player and he's going to get his. He's going to get his. And Pohavitz is no different. He's going to have a big night. Even if he has an off night, it'll be a big night. But what it does is it opens up so many opportunities for the complementary players, and they have some special complementary players. So I think, that is the real dilemma if you're Palisades. Pick your poison. Do you commit everything you have to stop Pohavitz? And if you don't, what happens with the outside hitters, the right side hitters, and the supplemental players for Chatsworth, who are all at very elite levels themselves. I think it's a great situation for Chatsworth, and that's why I favor them to win on Saturday. And you were talking about their West Valley prowess. This is 2 consecutive years they've gone undefeated in the West Valley. And that's a very tough, the toughest league in the city section volleyball. So I think this is the year they get past that Palisades mystique and they claimed the championship for the new dad, Sina Agassi.
Yeah, we should congratulate him. I'm sure we will on Saturday. Now, we should congratulate you, too, because you're about to retire. So for 27 years, you've been both the boys and the girls head coach at Verdugo Hills for the Dons. What's starting to go through your mind knowing that this is the end of your coaching career?
Oh, all kinds of emotions, actually. It's a bit of it is honestly a relief. My shoulder's not what it used to be back when I was a kid. And so giving that a little bit of rest at practice. But it's also, of course, a little bittersweet because it's been a big part of my career as a teacher at Verdugo Hills High School. And I was a player at Verdugo back in the 80s as well. So it's personal for me. And just knowing that it's going to be in good hands with the new head coach, Joe Arachiga, the current men's coach at Pierce College, who played for me in 2013, graduated, and he's going to be an outstanding men's coach for him. So I'm rooting him all the best, and I'm hoping to go out a winner. But either way, it's been a spectacular ride for the last 27 seasons.
I always ask this, Randy knows, when we have coaches on this show that have been around quite some time, if you can, 27 years as a coach, what's the biggest difference for you between that player, that high school student athlete you got in year 1, 2, 3 compared to the student athlete you're coaching in 2022, 2023?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think, the obvious answer is they just seem to get bigger and stronger each year. But the other thing I would note, besides just the athleticism improving, is that they've become more savvy in many respects, thanks to exposure to social media. I think, we're seeing even in the high school level now, NIL has become a bigger and bigger part. And there are more opportunities, even for a sport like men's volleyball, to get college opportunities, both scholarship and non-scholarship. So in the 1990s, that existed, but it was more selective. There wasn't as much exposure, and there just weren't as many opportunities, streaming opportunities, cable opportunities, et cetera. And so I think that's been something that we've noticed. I mean, even if you think about just YouTube, the way you can promote yourself like that as an athlete and get eyeballs on you and get opportunities and looks. So it's on the court, of course, but it's also the off the court stuff.
We'll see you Saturday night.
Hey, I'm excited. I'm fired up. Hey, let's do it, Randy. Hey, Randy, grow that mustache before you get there, okay?
No. Tark's going to shave. I'm going to be clean cut. All right, we'll talk to you on Saturday. That's the man, Will Reinhart. Love that guy. Of course, the match is on TV. It's our Pacific Surfliner Game of the Week. Live 6 o'clock from Cal State Northridge. It's going to be a lot of fun. Figures to be a terrific match. Also, there's another championship match in the southern section, Newport Harmar and Corona Centennial. That's not Corona Centennial. Corona Del Mar. I'm thinking Corona Centennial because we're going to have Matt Logan on, their football coach, in a moment. But it's Corona Del Mar who knocked off top-ranked Loyola. There is the matchup. The Sailors have won a lot of matches in a row, 12 matches in succession. All right, we're going to take a brief timeout, hear from our friends at Pacific Surfliner. Then we're going to talk about Corona Centennial. That's next on SoCal Prep Report. See you at 30.
Southern California has always been a land of discovery. From historic gems to iconic beaches to top attractions. Let the Amtrak Pacific Surfliner be part of your journey as you explore more of the place we call home. Reconnect with the communities you love most, with the people you love most. Isn't it time you rediscovered Southern California?
Hey, it's time to talk some spring football, and I got the perfect guy, Matt Logan, who's had the perfect career at Corona Centennial. He's won numerous championships, and he's got it going, and he's just right off the football field. You're still practicing. How'd the team look tonight, Matt?
It was a good night overall. We had some injuries, and some guys got to step in, young guys got to step in and play, and some guys were out a little banged up, like I said. So it was a good night. The kids worked hard, and we got a little better.
I'm excited because you got Husan Longstreet, a young man who was great at Inglewood last year, threw for 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, nearly 70% of his aerials. How's he fitting in, and can you find out so much about how he will fit in during spring break like this and when they're playing in the spring?
Yeah, absolutely. He's done a great job. He's come in, and he's just eager to learn, and he's definitely a student of the game. And, comes in with a great track record, and so we're excited to have him, and he's fit right in with the guys. He's doing a great job, man. He's got some incredible arm talent. It's fun to coach him.
Now, I know Tarek Fatal wanted to meet you. Tarek's covered a lot of sports, so I'm introducing Tarek Fatal. This is Matt Logan. Tarek, take it away.
Coach, how's it going? Don't know if I've actually had a chance to get out there and meet you in person. Obviously know your program so well. I'm at the Daily News. I cover the Sierra Canyons, the Chaminades, the Mission Leagues of the world, so happy to have you aboard. I do want to ask you about that high-powered offense. Every time I talk, a couple of years ago, talked with John Elias at Sierra Canyon, he goes, man, there was no way we were stopping those dudes. It's a trademark of your program. We're going to play fast, and we're going to get after you. When you go to coach that, what are the foundational things you instruct? You got a new quarterback. What are some things that are foundational to making sure that high-motored offense is running well?
Yeah, well, regardless of what you run, offensively or defensively, you got to execute, bottom line. So our whole goal is just to come out and execute and try to put the things in place for when defenses have, everybody's going to have an answer. There's a lot of good coaches out there, and try to have answers for their answers, and keep working that way. So it's kind of an evolving system. We do have our base plays, and we try to be really good at a few things as opposed to being, average or not very good at a lot of stuff. So we really try to hone in our best plays, and we like to do a lot of stuff off of our best plays. So whether it be, it starts with the run game for us, and so play action pass is huge for us. Screens off the run game. Everything we can to try to make things look similar to try to confuse the defense.
How excited are you about your football team? I know you're offensive minded. You've had great offensive teams over the years. You got many offensive linemen coming back. I think you have 3 starters up front coming back. You got receivers who were young last year returning, and now you got the quarterback. How excited are you to pull the trigger on this edition of the Huskies?
Oh, we're very excited. There's a lot of talent, which creates great competition in practice, and that's how you get better. Iron sharpens iron. So we get after as best we can, and our kids work extremely hard in the weight room, in the classroom, and on the field. And so, we just keep pushing and pushing. We try to get better, and it's kind of a tough, right now because we're not in pads, and you want to go and play football, and you really can't. You're kind of limited on the things you can do, but we try to get after as best we can, and just like I said, we just try to get a little better every day. And having the night practice is nice. It's always nice energy. You get under the lights and get it going. It's good excitement.
Coach, what is the biggest difference? I just asked this to our first guest. The biggest difference between the student athlete when you were first coaching many years ago and now the student athlete that's coming in as a freshman or an underclassman into your varsity program, in the fall of 2023 or even this past year. What to you is the biggest difference in that kid?
I think you get a little more polished athlete at this point when they're freshmen. They have a little more knowledge and a little more skill set because I think the youth programs have really grown and the different trainings and different things that they come in with. And then they continue to train usually, throughout high school. Most of the kids have some type of trainer that they use outside of our football. And I think that's one of the biggest differences. I think you get a little more polished. They're not as green as when they used to come in too. And plus, a lot of those kids come in a little bit older now too as well. That's part of the whole, maturation of them. But I think it's a little bit more polished. I think a little more better understanding of the game than what they probably did, at 27 years ago, which was my first year as head coach.
When I played back when there was dinosaurs roaming the earth, we didn't have any of this spring football stuff. We just showed up a couple weeks before the season, had 2 weeks of what they called Hell Week at the time. We had double practices each day. But for you, I just sense it's almost, 365 days a year, high school football. Is that the way it is in this day and age? You have to eat, breathe, and sleep high school football year-round?
I don't think you have to do it completely year-round, but you got to be to stay competitive, you have to definitely, be working, that's for sure. Weights has always been a part of it, and now you added a spring ball where, pretty much you can do whatever you want in terms of, without pads, but, we could go to a 7-on-7 tournament every weekend if we wanted to right now. We don't do that. I'm not a big advocate or a big fan of 7-on-7. I think it's a good football drill, but it's not real football. So we don't partake in a lot of those. We go to a couple tournaments, but spring is all about us just kind of installing our stuff, learning our system, trying to play at the tempo, understand drills. So when it's all preparation for when we get those pads on, that we're ready to go.
Well, in the NFL, they have free agencies. In college football, they have the portal. and in high school they have the transfers, and you got the plum in Husan Longstreet. You are the winner of that category this year, so we wish you the best luck and really appreciate the fact that you came on to tell us a little bit about your spring team. And let me ask you one last question. Is this the year Corona Centennial can leapfrog both Mater Dei and St. John Bosco? Is this the season?
We sure hope so. We're working towards that. That's a big obstacle to overcome, but that's always the goal for us is to get to the state championship, and so obviously it goes through one or two of those or both of them. So that's just the way it works out. But we hope so. We're working hard to achieve that.
Well, Matt, thanks a lot. I know you just got off the practice field, and we appreciate you coming aboard. Good luck this season, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Tarek, nice meeting you. Take care, guys.
All right. Everybody loves Tarek. Talk to you later. There is the best offensive football coach in high school in the area.
I remember, I want to say, was it last year or 2 years ago, but I only know this firsthand because Sierra Canyon is one of the teams I cover, and they went and played in Corona Centennial. I think they stuck with them for like a half.
Right.
They were within a touchdown at halftime. And then there was a whole different game in that second half. And I'll never forget asking John Ellinghouse, and he goes, dude, we just couldn't. We ran out of gas, and they just wouldn't stop. They were just shoving it down our throats and throwing the ball a million yards, and that was the end of that.
I had him on a TV game the first time I saw one of his teams against Birmingham at Birmingham.
Okay.
And this is a good Birmingham team. It was 28-0 Corona Centennial before you blinked.
Yeah.
Before you blinked. They're just too good.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, they're good.
Unbelievable.
Speaking of too good, Bronny James, you may have heard the name,
Oh,
out of Sierra Canyon. He's committed to USC now. Tarek, I know you saw Bronny throughout his days as a Trailblazer. It obviously seems to be a very good fit at SC.
It is a good fit. There's no question about that. I always try and tell people, look, Bronny James is not your go out and score 30 points a game type player. He could have a rough shooting night. The kid almost has a great floor game every time he plays. In the right position, moving without the ball, making the extra pass, rebounding, playing different defense, hitting the open shot. An A++ athlete. He's a Division I level player, but there's just so much hoopla that surrounds the kid. I think it kind of was a turnoff to a lot of coaches that were recruiting him. So where does he end up? At USC. What's USC? It's Hollywood. Let's just be honest, right? Caleb Williams, Juju Watkins, now Bronny James. Andy Enfield's got quite the player. The Trojans are going to be very good.
He's got Rodman's kid coming over there now, and Isaiah Collier, a brilliant guard, maybe the best guard in the country.
Boogie Ellis
is coming back. So
Bronny
will get playing time.
Yes, they'll be good. They'll be good.
There's another guard from the Mission League, Jackson Mosley, over 1,000 points for St. Francis of La Cañada. He's going to play at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I think that's great.
It is. It really is. And this is, I wouldn't call it the antithesis, but kind of the other side of the Bronny James story and all the hype. And then you got someone like Jackson Mosley, a 4-year varsity player who absolutely just got better every year and worked in silence, so to speak, and end up being St. Francis's all-time winningest player, did so well in the Mission League, a true point guard, the son of a basketball coach in John Mosley at Eastern Los Angeles College. He's going to be a great player in college. He's one of those program players. He's going to get there. I don't know how much time he'll play as a freshman, but as a junior and senior, he'll be on the floor.
Yeah, he'll get on the floor at Cal Poly. There's no question about that. All right, let's turn our attention to softball. The finals for D1 are set in the southern section. Norco, who's won, I think, 4 or 5 titles in the last decade, they're in the championship, and they're going to play Pacifica of Garden Grove. Pacifica has been a great story here. They've knocked off Los Alamitos, which is one of the favorites. Then they knocked off a team you're very familiar with in Oaks Christian.
Yes, they beat Oaks Christian today. I think I forgot what the score was, but yes.
6-3, I think.
I think it was 6-3. Oaks Christian was this team, only had 1 loss all year long. We kind of thought, after Pete Ackerman had passed away, then Cheyenne Coyle takes over, and they did not miss a beat. In fact, you could argue maybe they were better, and they fall just a little short. However, all semifinalists, they qualify for the regional playoff. So Oaks Christian season is not yet over.
Bryn Nally's been the pitcher at Pacifica who's done the job. She's won both games, and she's obviously getting it done in the playoffs. And as you know, if you have a hot pitcher, you can ride that arm.
Softball, there is no other sport where if you have one player that can dominate, you can ride that domination all the way to the championship. Softball is that. If you have an arm in the circle, you can win any game.
Granada Hills has an arm in the circle, and Addison Mormon, they beat Narbonne in the first round of the Open Division of the City playoffs. This is a very good Highlander team. That game was 5 innings. It was a 10-run roll, so they won an easy over Banning. That's a Granada Hills team that's on a mission. They look very good.
That they went 10-0 in the West Valley League. They'll play El Camino Real in the semifinal of the Open Division City Championship. I had the pleasure yesterday of watching Ella Luden from Birmingham. She threw a no-hitter, didn't even know it, and they won 2-0. They beat Eagle Rock.
The other game is Carson at Birmingham. Now, Jim Rose, the coach at Birmingham, is trying. He's got to win the semis, and then he's got to win the finals. But he's trying to do a double-double. He won the football championship as the head coach. Now he's trying to propel his softball team to the LA City Section Championship, both in the Open Division. That is a rarity.
Jim Rose, man, what a crack up. What a great coach and just an easy-going guy. Hey, Jim, how's it going? You could walk up to him 5 minutes before a big game. He'll talk to you. He won't big league you. He won't take anything too seriously. Great coach. The girls really like him. Yesterday's Open Division City win was the first time the softball team had won an Open Division playoff game in the program's history. So little by little, he's chipping away at some remarkable things at Birmingham.
What to me is not remarkable is that San Pedro's not in the softball championships. Along with El Camino, they've been the best program in the city section. They had an ineligible player, some paperwork issues, and they were not allowed to participate. And this really isn't a city issue for me. It's a big picture with all sections, southern section, city, whether it's up north, whatever. When a player is ineligible, I do not like the fact that the whole team is dinged like that. I think it's a very penal situation to rule out a team in the playoffs.
Your gripe is legitimate. It is a shame to think some paperwork by an administration that goes awry or doesn't get submitted correctly, and frankly is incompetence, is impacting the third baseman who's only a junior
right.
That's trying every day at practice and now she can't play. So yes, I think it is a shame, and it's a shame that their season had to end like that.
I'm going to give you 4 games. I just want the winners in each one.
You got it.
Notre Dame at Corona, baseball.
Notre Dame, I'm a homer.
Okay, 28-2, better record anyway, but the Panthers are for real. Sierra Canyon, you're going to be a homer again against Jay Sarah?
Give me Jay Sarah. Give me the Trinity League. Give me the defending Division I champions.
What about I thought you were a homer. You're not. Now you're going against the team you're supposed to be
I'm not going to go against the number 1 team in the state.
Okay.
In Notre Dame.
Okay, this one's a little bit easier. Villa Park at Orange Lutheran. Orange Lutheran, the team that beat Harvard Westlake, a team you cover.
I'll go Olu.
You like Olu?
Yeah, give me Olu. Maybe they're playing their best ball right now.
I think that's a very...
It could go either way.
Either way. Yeah. I mean, Villa Park's been very strong all season. I kind of lean toward Olu.
Where's the game?
I think it's at Olu.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last one is La Mirada at Santa Margarita and Candlely. I haven't seen these teams, but they're both obviously very strong to be in the Final 8.
Gosh, I can't think of La Mirada's pitcher right now, but I know they have a good one. See, the thing about these quarterfinal games, Randy, is everyone's going to pitch their number 1. The rest, the time. So give me La Mirada. I don't know if you want to call that a shocker, but give me La Mirada. I think their number 1 is better.
Okay, I'll agree with you because I don't know. I'll tell you what I do know. For one of the rare times, Tarek and I are going to be at the same site on Saturday. I'm going to be at the volleyball, calling the match on a Pacific Surfliner match with Chatsworth and Palisades live at 6 o'clock right here. You're going to be there too. There's the promo for it.
I will be there. Cal State Northridge, which is no longer called the Matadome.
Oh, you do this every week.
Let's call it the Matadome.
It is the Matadome.
So you'll call it the Matadome in the broadcast.
Why not? Who's going to tell me not to?
I forgot what
you
it's
think
called.
Dick Dornan of the city section is going to stop me?
It's like the American Credit Union Arena or something. Anyway, yes, I will be there. Some city section action. I think there's 3 or 4 games going on that day. I'm going to make it to office for the day, check in on a little track and field going on at Moore Park High School, check in on those results. Have a good day. It's on Saturday.
Next week we got to talk softball. Softball finals will be the following weekend. That's
correct.
Next week.
Yeah, both the city and southern section softball championships are May 19th and 20th.
Right.
And then that following weekend, Dodger Stadium, that'll be city boys championships.
Baseball.
City boys. City baseball.
Come on, what's with the boys?
Boys baseball. Never heard of it?
Yeah. It's not girls baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition. We want to thank Matt Logan. Great insight to his Corona Centennial Husky football team having their little practice sessions going on now, a little spring football. And, of course, to Will Reinhart, who's retiring as the head volleyball coach at Verdugo Hills, but he's got the big assignment. He's broadcasting the match with me Saturday, but earlier in the day, his team his Dons of Verdugo Hills are going to try to knock off Southgate for the D2 city title. That's going to wrap it up for our 36 crew. And for Tarek, I'm Randy. We'll see you Thursday, a week from tonight at 9 p.m. right here on SoCal Prep Report. Good night, everybody.
So you never rocked a mustache?
No way.
Why? Goatee?
I
Like, what about
the
like all the
clean
way around?
cut.
So
You look
oh,
30 years
you're
older
old.
for crying out loud.
Hey man, with age comes wisdom.
I know. And Notre Dame, you're a homer.